Hey guys, here I am again to do what is now my review for, as you see, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. I'm finally up to reviewing this one. I should have the others up very soon. I am seeing The Force Awakens very soon. So let's just get along with this one, I guess you could say. So getting right into this one without any further ado. I don't think there's any kind of side notes I want to mention before we start this. Other than the fact I will get my original trilogy kind of singular reviews up very soon as possible. I'll be pumping those out and everything. As this one's probably uploading, I'll probably be recording the next one. That's how literally I'm talking and everything. So there's that. Yeah, I don't think there's any other side notes I really want to mention before we dive right into this at all, other than the fact of what could kick off this review with what is the best film in the Star Wars prequels. But does that make it good? Does that make it a great film? We're gonna dive into that. So, getting into Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3. We have the performances and characters as always, as I always start with in my notes and that. So yeah, we had Ewan McGregor coming back, Hayden Christensen, but I will come back to Hayden Christensen actually. So you had Hayden Christensen reprising his role as Anakin, Ewan McGregor's back as Obi-Wan, Natalie Portman's back as Padme, Christopher Lee back as Count Dooku, Samuel Jackson as Mace Windu, Ian McDiarmid, Palpatine, and so on, and as always, Anthony Daniels, C-3PO, Kenny Baker, yeah, it's the usuals and everything. So you have all these ones back and everything. So yeah, going off of that, anyway, I said I'll come back to mentioning Hayden Christensen because in my last review, talking about Attack of the Clones, I noted quite a bit that how wooden and kind of pretty much bad he was as Anakin in that film. He was a bad Anakin. Not to say he was I wouldn't say he's a very good Anakin in this film either, at all. But I think he was much improved. I thought he improved. Yeah, I thought he improved. I'm not gonna say he improved quite a bit, but he did improve. You saw signs of improvement in his acting as he fit into the role more, and that which is a good sign and everything. He got more used to it. He play he played off his co-stars better, not really well though, but he played off them better, and so that's it. That's a positive to start off this review. I thought Hayden Christensen improved, but even though that's a positive, he still wasn't a really good Anakin per se, and that was a little bit disappointing at the time. Well, at the time, I still loved the film because I was young, so at the age level I was, but you know what I mean. I think yeah, figuratively, if you get what I mean, and that. But yeah, Hayden Christensen improved in this film, so that's a good thing. But he still wasn't a very good Anakin. He had the Anakin and Padme scenes again. We didn't have as many of them, I don't think, than Attack of the Clones. We still had a few of them, but they were actually handled, I thought, better than Attack of the Clones, but not well either. They still weren't handled all that well. They could have been handled much better. I think the best scene with them was on Mustafa near the end of the film, and that's something I'll come back to, and I'll come back to that. But yeah, I thought they were handled better in this film than Attack of the Clones. I thought most of the aspects of this film were handled better than Attack of the Clones, honestly. As well as this, talking about the lack of kind of intense action sequences and space battles and all this kind of stuff from Attack of the Clones. This film has you may not like the prequels, but it has one of the best Star Wars opening scenes, and that with Obi-Wan and Anakin flying through the goddamn during that bloody battle with Grievous's ship and all that and everything. I think there's a name for the whole battle. I can't put my finger on. I can't remember it all. And that's speaking of Star Wars universe was huge. I can't remember every detail, every name, but that was a fantastic opening sequence. Made up. Well, it didn't really make up for it, but it was nice because coming off a very boring Attack of the Clones, we had this film kicked off already in a great way and everything. And not only were the action sequences great, but just the fight sequences, like when I say that, I mean like the lightsaber kind of hand to hand kind of sequences were very good, very good, very entertaining, and we got a number of them in this film, coming off just one of them in Attack of the Clones, which is just boring. Um, yeah, I very much liked that, and I liked the return of Christopher Lee as Count Dooku in this film. I thought he was better in this film for the brief amount of time he was in it. I liked his fight with Anakin, his dialogue with Anakin after knocking down Obi-Wan so easy. I thought that was a little off. I don't, he knocked him out so easy, but yeah, I very much liked that. Oh, I apologize. Um, but I liked his fight with Anakin in this one. I liked the lines of dialogue between the two, how he saw the dark side of him and everything. Obvious foreshadowing because of what this film is going to end with and everything. And yeah, and getting on with it more. You had, as well as Dooku, who gets killed at the hands of Anakin because Palpatine kind of urges him, motivates him, pushes him to do it, and that and everything. And that's where you kind of saw the apprentice master stuff when it came to doing these kind of killing start to show itself more between the Emperor, or Sidious and Vader, I guess you could say. This is where it kind of started, but of course there's just Palpatine and Anakin at the moment. And yeah, as well as Count Dooku's dying, he may have died, but 5 minutes later we're introduced to the new, not really, he's not a Sith per se, but we're introduced to the cyborg, I believe, isn't he? We are introduced to the cyborg commander, General Grievous, and that. And he is, look, I don't think I like General Grievous as much as most people, and I don't know what it is, but I think I very much liked, um, I liked his presence in the film, like kind of that big kind of bulk kind of presence he has on screen and that. But I do find something weird, and this is not really the film's fault. This is more so but it is, and this is connected to the canon of the universe. Is how come um in and this is just a question for you guys if you want to answer it. I don't know. And this is canon related and General Grievous related. How come in the Star Wars: The Clone Wars series we have scenes between Anakin and Grievous? They've been face to face before in that. They've fought each other, and that is canon. Star Wars: The Clone Wars is canon. But how come in this film, if Anakin acts like he's never met Grievous, and you could, and this is, this film definitely is takes place after the Clone Wars and that. So I didn't get that, but that's not the film's fault because the film came out, what is it, like 3 years before the Clone Wars series even started. So it's not the film's fault at all. But yeah, I just found that kind of strange looking back on it. Grievous is kind of cool, though, I guess. He was neat, I guess. He wasn't that I don't know. Look, he was fine. He was fairly great, I guess. He wasn't amazing or anything. Like I know a lot of people love Grievous, and I didn't find him like anything mind-blowingly great or something. As well as him, we had all the scenes on kind of Grievous's ship and everything, which I very much enjoyed, of how crashing it on Coruscant and whatnot, how Grievous escaped and his bodyguards, just his bodyguards in general were kind of cool, and Obi-Wan kind of dealing with them, or one of them at least. And that was very neat. I very much liked that. I liked how R2 got a bit more kind of scenes in this film, but I kind of I found I didn't like how they kind of made a few of the droids in this film because those droids that felt like stupid comedic relief at the start of this film, those super battle droids and everything. And it's like this stupid Astro droid. It's like, come on, that was probably a terrible super battle droid thing. Oh, I gotta stop with the impressions, but you know what I mean. You should it's just it was a poor attempt at kind of comic relief using the Trade Federation. I'm like, okay, Lucas, what? Yeah, but I liked how R2 got more time to be that kind of hero-esque character, like do more hero-esque kind of things, and that's why I very much like R2 getting into more of the action. I just didn't like how they threw in that sort of comic relief and whatnot. Yeah, as well as that, we get into like back on Coruscant and everything after all this. This is where kind of the scenes start with Anakin and Padme again, which are not all that good to be honest. I liked Anakin's dream of Padme dying and everything, and that kind of we know where that it's gonna lead and everything. We know where that leads, and but yeah, I very much like that. I thought that was very neat. Um, and I like, but it was just despite how well the dream being pretty good, well handled. I still didn't like those scenes between Anakin and Padme, and even when it came down to it, and I will get into this later in my review. I never cared for their relationship at all, even throughout. And I mean Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman's. Episode 2, I didn't care for it whatsoever. Episode 3, maybe a little bit more, a tiny bit more, but not much at all. Still, not enough to really show emotion when I'm watching it on screen. That's just me. As well as that, what else do we have going on? There's some big stuff I want to mention more into this review, which I'll get to. But before I get to that, I think I'll mention now the stuff on Utapau with Obi-Wan going to Utapau to hunt down General Grievous, which is a very fun sequence of how he comes down, he fights Grievous, and it all ends with Obi-Wan shooting Grievous in the heart after opening. That was a very fun sequence. And that very fun sequence. There's a lot of fun action fight sequences in this film, which made up for Attack of the Clones, you could say, and that was I very much did like that. As well as that, you had what is it? Right after this, or not right after, but around the same time as this, you had, and this I thought this is definitely worth mentioning, and this is something that will probably we could be coming back to talking about this in our Force Awakens review, and that is when Palpatine tells Anakin the story of Darth Plagueis, or Plagueis. God damn it. Plagueis. Well, you know what? Correct me on what one it is. But the story of Darth Plagueis. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. But the story of Darth Plagueis, and Palpatine tells Anakin the story of Darth Plagueis and everything, and he tells him about how Darth Plagueis can cheat death and whatnot, and this interests Anakin, of course, and this is one of the things that lures him to the dark side when it comes to saving Padme, because he doesn't want Padme to die at childbirth, and yeah, I think this is definitely worth mentioning, because I think we will definitely be coming back to this in our Force Awakens review. Well, I don't think definitely we'll be coming back to this, because there are only rumors and theories at the moment. But I think we will be. I think we will be coming back to this, and that because for being that is Darth Plagueis, despite being killed in his sleep by his apprentice Darth Sidious, who Palpatine yours is, of course. Yeah, despite that, he's a being who cheats death, and he could still be around, and I don't know if I want to get into I won't get into the rumors about the Force Awakens, even though they're not verified or official or confirmed by anyone. They're just rumors, and that we haven't. So, despite that, I still won't mention them just for you guys, because I want everyone to have a fantastic first time experience watching the Force Awakens. I really do. So I'm not gonna even tell you any theories, and you probably already heard them. I'm still not gonna do it. So yeah, there's some Darth Plagueis theories regarding the Force Awakens and whatnot, and the story of Darth Plagueis here is probably the only mention of Darth Plagueis in the entire franchise leading up to Force Awakens, and that. So, and I thought, and it was actually, it was one of the best scenes of the film. Honestly, it was one of the best because the story of Darth Plagueis is so dark, but it's enough. You can there's enough in the story as well that would clearly lure Anakin, very much interest Anakin to pull him over to the dark side. It would definitely do that. But yes, There was enough there. There was enough there to pull him over. But as well as that, not only did you have like the story of the Dark Plagueis, but going off from this, I have to mention all the big stuff at the end of the film. The third act of this film is huge, and it all kicks off. Well, it somewhat kicks off with this. So there's other stuff going on, but it kind of kicks off with Order 66, and that's like, oh, what a great. But before this, I should mention the fight between well, it led to the death of him, but the fight between Mace Windu and Darth Sidious, and that when the Jedi confront Sidious after Anakin actually comes to them about Sidious, and this was a very fun. Even though I didn't like how easy those other Jedi were killed, like I know it's Sidious, but they went down without barely even a fight. Like, come on, you can at least hold him for at least a little bit of time, like, can't you? Like, you're not kids, you're not younglings, but whatever. Mace Windu has a very cool fight with it, but yet again, as cool as the Mace Windu fight was, and this comes with all the lightsaber battles in the prequels, it feels so choreographed. And I know it is choreographed, and that it definitely is, but it feels like it doesn't feel like the choreograph is kind of being covered by something, because I feel like it should be, so it doesn't it's not noticeable, and that you're meant to be immersed in the action and feel like there's tension and whatnot, and you don't really, honestly, to be honest, like, because of the fact of how do you say it? You can see it's like a dance, like I mentioned in my. I don't know if I mentioned this in my last Attack of the Clones review, but I mentioned it in my Phantom Menace review, and that was the fact of oh, sorry. God. The fact of how it's like a dance, it's like 1, 2, step back, 1, 2, crouch, and all this kind of stuff. Like, you can see it. And even then, it kind of looks silly when Mace Windu, played by Samuel L. Jackson, it kind of does all these kind of moves, where he just looks like it doesn't even look like something a Jedi would do. And I don't know, just maybe, I don't know, it just looks silly to me, some of the kind of subtle moves he did when fighting Sidious and whatnot. If you can remember or kind of somewhat understand what parts maybe I'm talking about. It's hard to really explain. But God, yeah. So that was it was still a very good fight scene. It was still a very good fight scene. It led to a very climatic ending with Anakin coming in, Mace Windu dying, and then we had the rise of Darth Vader. And that, so yeah, it was disappointing to see Mace Windu die there, but it was, I think, bound to happen and everything. Yeah, as well as that, we had the rise of Darth Vader and Anakin coming up, and that was I very much liked that. I very much did. I think anyone liked that. That was the moment kind of fans were waiting for, but I think they could have built up to it better. They could have built up to it, not just in this film, but this film included. It could have built up to it better, and it didn't feel as powerful as it should have been. I didn't feel that the scene where Anakin turns to the dark side was as powerful as it should have been, and that. But talking about powerful scenes, this film did have a very. But I think people. Okay, I'm gonna get to the scene, but I'm gonna say a few words about it. And that scene is Initiate Order 66. Yeah, there. I think I might have spoken a little low. I need to get a better mic so I can sound louder to you guys, because then I can maybe do impressions and they wouldn't come off sounding like I'm whispering. But yeah. As well as that, going from that anyway, you had Order 66, which was a very powerful scene, seeing all these Jedi die. But I think so many people get caught up in the scene and get caught up of how kind of I guess beautifully done it, you could say, like how kind of powerful, I guess, just caught up in how powerful the scene is, and that they get so caught up in how powerful the scene is, it's just like it's I find it that they seem to forget, and I'm not pointing at anyone into watching this in particular, and I'm not pointing at anyone in particular, I'm just saying of just general people I've seen, and that they seem to forget how kind of easy the Jedi died in those scenes. Like, it didn't even feel realistic in my kind of perspective, and that I didn't find it that realistic. They just died because they needed to. It was Order 66. I know there was some of them felt realistic, you could say, but they're Jedi after all. It's like they are Jedi. It's like, how come the Jedi didn't? I know it's Sidious, but the Jedi could have felt something going on there with Palpatine, and eventually they did feel a dark kind of thing around him, and that very clouded, and that. But I think they could have seen that sooner, and that I just think the Jedi were it's like their Force kind of sense powers and everything like this, or Force powers, were just kind of dumbed down a little bit or something. It just that takes away from the powerful scene. It was a powerful scene where all the Jedi get killed during you know, from Order 66, but it's just, oh god, it just takes away from it because I think a few of them could have at least survived it very easy. Like Ayla Security's death, was it on that? I cannot remember the plant's name. The flower planet, the planet with all the plants and everything. Um, she died ridiculously easy. Like, what on earth? She just got shot in the back. I, I don't know. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on that. As well as that, I thought it could have been much. I think it could have been a fantastically powerful scene, and it was still a powerful scene, but it could have been a fantastically powerful scene, and it wasn't that, in my opinion. As well as that, yeah, you had the Fall of the Jedi, which I mentioned, the Rise of Darth Vader, which I think I'll continue to mention as I move on to mentioning quickly. I'll mention this first, but you had the Yoda Sidious fight in the Senate, which is a ton of fun. Even though, once again, the Yoda kind of the way he fights, I like, as cool as it is, I can understand. I think it takes away a little bit from some of the dialogue Yoda said in The Empire Strikes Back with relying on his Force and whatnot. If that makes sense at all, I hope it does. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, I guess. But yeah, the way he fights and everything, I found Yoda to be one more of the Force and kind of relying on the Force. And of course, a Jedi needs his lightsaber. He has a lightsaber for a reason, and then he uses it. But it just seems like Yoda is just some crazy jumping monkey thing when he just jumps around with it. And I guess some people find that fun. And I don't know. It's cool. I find it very, very cool. And I do have fun with it. I just can't help but think it takes away a little bit from the lines of dialogue Yoda said in The Empire Strikes Back. But as well as that, we did have as well the Obi-Wan Anakin fight on Mustafar, which I have to mention. This is the fight everyone was waiting for with this film, and that, like, despite maybe people's disappointments with the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, people were still going into this film with high hopes. Probably, look, yeah, people were still going into this film with high hopes that we would have one of the most memorable fights probably in the Star Wars franchise, maybe in film history. Who knows? With Obi-Wan and Anakin fight. And damn, it's gone down as one of the most iconic fights probably in film. I'll honestly say that. As much as the prequels, as much as lots of people hate the prequels, there was a number of people who hate the prequels. The Anakin and Obi-Wan fight's fantastic. And but once again, and some people disagree with me on this, a couple of my friends I think disagree with me on this, and that's completely fine. That's fine. Is about the choreography of how choreographed the fight is and everything, and it feels once again like a dance, as good as it is, and how kind of well it's done, and how it kind of the emotions around the scene. I thought Hayden Christensen probably gave his best performance during the scene, up and well, actually, somewhat. He was falling off a little bit at the end, somewhat, but I think yeah, but as well as that, it was very kind of a cool fight scene, a fantastic fight scene, but it felt so choreographed, like I mentioned before. You can kind of see, kind of like when they, you can kind of see the dance maneuvers around it. If you get what I mean, kind of. I'm not sure. I'm hoping you are kind of understanding what I'm saying with that. But yeah, it's a very fun fight scene. It led to the whole the I guess heartbreaking kind of scene where Obi-Wan's got the high ground, like that. That was kind of silly kind of thing was like, oh, I got the high ground, Anakin. I'm like, okay, okay. Like, I thought they could have ended the fight in a much more climactic, I guess, at a better climax. The fight could have had a better climax, I could say. I would say. But I thought it was very. I liked how emotional when Ewan McGregor's performance when he's like, "You're a brother to me, Anakin. I loved you," and everything. That was very well done. I thought that was extremely well done. Ewan McGregor was fantastic in this film. He was fantastic in all three of these films. In the prequels. I still hold out hope that he will come back for maybe a Star Wars anthology. I really, really hope. But who knows? We'll see what happens. As well as that, yeah, I liked how you have Anakin get burnt all over the lava on Mustafar, and Sidious comes and everything. You can sense that Vader, or I guess it's Vader by this point, isn't he? But you can sense he's in trouble when he comes along and he helps him and he puts him in the Vader suit and everything like that. And and that's where you legitimately have the rise of Darth Vader when he's officially in the Darth Vader suit for about one scene, and then he just gets up and he asks about Padme. Padme's dead, and he screams no. Yeah, that's really it. That's really it. Unfortunately, but as well as that, this review is going on longer than I thought it would. It's going on much longer than I thought it would. But I'll kind of wrap it up here with death of Padme. I thought was handled well. The birth of Luke and Leia was a very nice scene. It was very very well handled, and the end of the film was fantastic. I thought this film had a great ending, and overall I thought this was a really good film. I honestly thought this was a very very good film. I know people have their problems with it. I know people have their problems with the prequels in general, and I have my problems with the Phantom Menace and the Attack of the Clones. But I thought Revenge of the Sith was a very solid film. Definitely the best in the prequels. And saying that, I'm going to probably give it an 8 out of 10. And that as my final rating. Expect my reviews for A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi very soon. I'm going to pump these out. But for now, this is my review for Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. 8 out of 10. Thanks for listening, guys, if you managed to get through all this. And when you see Force Awakens, I hope you really, really enjoy it. I really do. I hope you really enjoy it, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, as well as this film, and on anything else I've been talking about. So yeah, until then, guys, I'll see you in the next video. See you later, guys.